On the day of the wedding, Tristan's first love returned. She brought her family of 3 to our wedding and revealed a secret I had kept for years during a break. She said she came this time because she didn't want her youth to be left with regrets. At that time, it was just before the college entrance examination. She was going abroad for leg treatment and asked me not to tell Tristan, so as not to delay his studies. After Tristan learned the truth, he thought I was deliberately trying to break them apart. Before entering the chapel, he grabbed my neck and shouted, "So you've been scheming for today, huh? I won't let you have your way." In the scuffle, I was pushed down the stairs, the shattered glass shards pierced my carotid artery, and I bled to death, once again waking up. I returned to the day when my first love asked me to keep a secret. In a daze, I was awakened by Ji Sungning shaking me. "Isabella, Mom said she bought the plane tickets. And she will take me abroad for treatment tomorrow." I looked up at the wall clock. It was 1:30 in the morning, looking down at the small bed in front of me. Ever since Ji Sungning came to my house, my room has been given to her. My bed is made by laying down the family's lounge chair. My mom said it would only be for a few days, but I have been making do on this lounge chair from the end of my sophomore year until the end of my senior year. I suddenly came to my senses. Fate is truly wonderful. The intense pain in my neck and the overwhelming sense of panic from excessive blood loss seemed to linger in my perception, causing my breathing to become rapid all of a sudden. Ji Sungning seemed dissatisfied that I did not respond to her in a timely manner. She reached out and slapped my shoulder heavily, saying, "Isabella, I'm talking to you. Can you hear me?" I snapped back to reality and met her expectant gaze. She raised her hand and slapped him hard. The crisp sound of the slap was particularly jarring in the quiet room. Tomorrow is the first day of the college entrance examination, and she is so self-centered, only thinking about herself. In my past life, I foolishly endured it, patiently accepting over an hour of her negative emotions, and ended up feeling dizzy after finishing the first exam. At first, it was she who asked me to keep her secret about going abroad. She said it wouldn't take much time, and not to delay Tristan's college entrance exam. After all, he would eventually find out. Since she said that, a normal person wouldn't have said anything. We all thought this matter was over. Later, she stayed abroad, experiencing love, marriage, and having children. Tristan and I got together in her 3rd year abroad. It was Tristan who pursued me. Even before the wedding, she sent me a text wishing me well. As a result, she appeared at my wedding, reminiscing about youth with the man who was about to become my husband, judging me. The person who once kept her secret for a day. Has the plane been grounded, or have all communication facilities in the world failed for the two of them? They didn't end up together in the end, and it's all my fault. Did I make Tristan pursue me? Did I make them stop contacting each other after going abroad? Did I cut off all their means of communication? Did I make Ji Sungning seamlessly transition into love, marriage, and having children? After Ji Sungning slapped me, she was stunned for a moment, then suddenly exploded in anger. "Isabella, you crazy bitch, how dare you hit me?" I stood up and, taking advantage of her still being caught off guard, slapped her again. "Are you going to hit me and also pick a date for it?" Her leg was seriously injured, and she could only drag it along, unable to exert any strength. I was quickly pinned to the ground and beaten. I really had enough of this long ago. Ji Sungning is my uncle's daughter. Her parents divorced when she was very young. My mom said she was pitiful and told me to be more accommodating to her. She stayed at my house from the 2nd grade until she graduated from elementary school. Those 4 years were a complete nightmare for me. It feels as if I am her personal maid, a 24-hour nanny. Even though we are only half a year apart, Ji Sungning not submitting her homework is my fault. I am selfish, only caring about myself and not her. Ji Sungning getting into a fight with her classmates and being called in by her parents is my fault. I should have stopped her. Ji Sungning stealing money is my fault. I told our parents out of jealousy. There are countless examples like this. Until she graduated from elementary school and was picked up by her mother, I thought the nightmare was over. But then she came back in high school, and then the nightmare returned. Moreover, since my uncle had already passed away at that time, my mother became even more obsessed, treating Ji Sungning like a precious gem. She felt that Ji Sungning was very pitiful, with no one to take care of her, and she wanted to compensate for her, to protect the last bit of bloodline for her brother, and she placed this responsibility squarely on my shoulders. Any matter concerning Ji Sungning that involved me was a greater responsibility than that of her guardian, just like how she, who is clearly under 158 centimeters tall, insists on being some kind of motorcycle girl. When she got on, her feet couldn't even touch the ground, and sure enough, she broke her leg. The doctor said she might be lame for life. As a result, my mom thought it was my fault for not keeping an eye on her. That day she hit me with a clothes hanger, breaking 3 of them. My arm still hurts when I raise it even now. Damn it, the more I think about it, the angrier I get. So I continued to slap him. After a few slaps, her face started to swell. At that moment, my parents finally arrived. Ji Sungning's biological mother couldn't stand our shabby house and stayed at a nearby hotel. Ji Sungning probably can't bear to part with me, her 24-hour personal maid. Even on the last night, she still has to act crazy. My mom suddenly pulled me up and pushed me hard. I couldn't steady myself and hit my head directly against the nearby cabinet. I reached out and touched it, my hand covered in blood. She seemed to not expect it to be this serious. And after a moment of shock, she said, "Isabella, what are you going crazy about at this late hour? She really is exactly the same as I remember. No matter when, she would never stand by my side. In this life and the next, all kinds of grievances come rolling in." I went completely mad on the spot. I wiped the blood from my forehead with both hands, smearing it all over my face, and I pulled my hair, screaming, "Yes, I am crazy. I am a madwoman, driven mad by all of you. Did I ask you to give birth to me? Damn it, I have my college entrance exam tomorrow. You wake me up in the middle of the night just to hear your little love stories. I can't even refuse, can I? What? Your brother's daughter is superior. Am I just supposed to be her slave, her nanny? It's not that I'm inferior. It's people like you who live this way that are inferior." I was outputting crazily, leaving my mom stunned. She was holding her precious niece with both hands. With some hesitation to meet my gaze, she said, "Mom didn't mean it that way. It's just that Ningning is still a patient. Why are you holding grudges against her?" Oh my, how could I dare? As the second-class citizen of this family, how could I even think of holding grudges against my mom's precious niece? Maybe I'm not your biological child, but even if I'm not, shouldn't there be some conscience? I have my college entrance exam tomorrow. Could you please show a little kindness? I'm begging you all. What family? Aren't you part of our family? You sure know how to talk, my mom said as she was about to hit me. I suddenly stepped back, bowed quickly, and repeatedly chanted, "Have a little compassion. I'm begging you." This was something my mom often did to me in the past. Whenever I started to complain that she treated Ji Sungning better than me, she would either pound her chest and cry, saying I was an ungrateful wolf, or kneel down and say, "It's all my fault. I gave birth to a young lady with the fate of a maid. I can't provide you with a good life, so go to another family." Where can a child under 10 go? I could only stand there in a daze and let her perform, absorbing all her negative emotions. At this moment, my dad finally spoke up, dragging me up and saying, "Isabella, it's late at night. How long are you going to make a fuss?" I looked up at him and suddenly laughed. "Dad, that's great. I didn't know you could talk, otherwise, I would have thought my dad had mastered the art of invisibility in this house." He was momentarily at a loss for words due to my sarcasm. He wanted to get angry, but after glancing at the clock nearing 2 o'clock, he ultimately just took my mom and the others out, leaving behind a remark. "You have the college entrance exam tomorrow, so go to bed early." I kept a cold face and said nothing. After they left, I slammed the door shut with a bang. It's impossible to sleep now. Even if I sleep until dawn, I won't be able to take the exam tomorrow. It has been 7 years since the college entrance examination ended before I came here. I'm really annoyed. Who wants to go back to this time? Can't we just finish the exam before coming back? I'm really fed up, if I don't do well. Those two shouldn't expect to do well either. Didn't I say in my last life that I was a hindrance to both of you? In this life, I will be a good person to the end, and that will fulfill you both. As for whether Tristan can see it, I'll leave it to fate. To be honest, my neck is already hurting. If I weren't afraid of drawing too much attention, I would want to call him right now. I told him to hurry, his first love is going abroad. Or else I will soon mutate into a Trisolaren and use physical and mental magic to obstruct their epic romance. But in this late night, I only sent a trivial message on QQ Space. My broken phone is about to fall apart, and it was Ji Sungning who broke it. My mom had no choice but to give it to me. I saved up my living expenses for a long time to get it repaired. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by the madwoman, listening to her unparalleled love story. She felt that she would be going abroad tomorrow, and after going abroad, the flight might be cancelled, which would mean she wouldn't see the madman again. After sending it, I turned off my phone and went to sleep. Perhaps in my past life, I never vented my frustrations like this. After letting it all out, I slept soundly until dawn. I felt much more relaxed overall. Since last night, Tristan's calls have not stopped. Damn, great. I hope he performs worse than I do today. The Isabella of the past has long since died. What has returned now is the dark Isabella. Seeing him in such a flustered state, my mood plus 100, plus 100. Isabella, what on earth is going on? What happened to Sungning? Isabella, you should have basic manners. What was that post about? Are you so dark-hearted that you want to sabotage someone's college entrance exam? One after another, it was making my eyes want to throw up. Why didn't I realize before that he seems to not even recognize letters? Or am I just the bug in their legendary romance, someone they have to involve, and then ask me what it means? Is it really that hard to understand? Am I your father? Do I have to answer all your questions? What responded to me was a call that was quickly dialed. Isabella, my name can also be called out with such gritted teeth. Why are you calling your dad? It's the middle of the night, and you're making so many calls. Didn't your dad teach you any manners, so you came to me instead, Isabella? My patience has its limits. Smack tilde. I hung up the phone directly. You think you're being polite, but what do you mean by patience having limits? Has Tristan always been this neurotic? Aside from the fact that he killed me in my past life, I feel like being with him is like leaving a record behind. The phone kept ringing persistently. After thinking for a moment, I answered it. Isabella, where is Sungning? Who are you talking to? Do I owe you something? Why should I care about her whereabouts? And why should I tell you, Isabella? Although I don't know how we offended you, please tell me. Okay, this is really important to me. Beg me. Is this your attitude when asking for something? Otherwise, why don't you call me dad and let me hear it? I can't be bothered by you every day like your dad and not even hear you say dad, Isabella. Damn it, are you sick? What, unwilling? It seems your feelings aren't that deep, not even willing to call dad. Then it looks like you're destined to part ways. Sigh, you wouldn't happen to have a histrionic personality, would you? You don't love that much anyway. Why pretend to be so deeply emotional? The phone was hung up in a fit of anger. Arguing early in the morning is quite refreshing. After I finished washing up, I prepared to go downstairs for some noodles before heading to the exam, thanks to Ji Sungning's commotion last night. My good parents might feel a little guilty and actually left me some money for breakfast. I still remember in my past life, I got up feeling dizzy and made myself an egg for breakfast, because early in the morning, my parents went to send Ji Sungning off. In the morning, we had a Chinese exam, and although I had mostly forgotten my high school knowledge, after all, it is my mother tongue, so I could still manage a bit. I quickly finished the exam and was the first to rush out of the examination room. No other reason, because for the past few years, the first student to come out of the exam has almost always been interviewed. At the corner of the stairs, I deliberately tore open the wound on my forehead to let more blood flow. Then I ran out with one hand covering my forehead. Throughout the entire interview, I was smiling as I spoke. I said I feel that life is full of hope. Once I go to university, I won't have to be beaten because of my cousin anymore. This interview quickly went viral online. If I just played the victim, I might not attract so much attention, but I create a contrast of hope. The daughter disturbed the night before the college entrance exam, harming her own child for the sake of someone else's. Going to university means I won't get beaten anymore. My mother quickly became famous because of me. When I returned to the neighborhood, many people were pointing and whispering about her. When I went home for lunch, I happened to run into her in a furious rage. Isabella, What do those things you said to the reporter mean? What do you mean? What's wrong, Mom? Your precious baby has gone abroad. Are you still going to hit me, Isabella? Have you gone crazy these past few days? She raised her hand, wanting to hit but hesitating to bring it down, because my dad was beside me, advising, forget it. The child is preparing for the college entrance exam. Don't argue with her. Oh my gosh. So my parents know I have the college entrance exam. I thought this exam was just a small matter. Besides, what could be more important than your little Ning-Ning, Isabella? My mother's slap suddenly landed. Hey, that didn't hit. I'm not foolish anymore. Why should I stand there and let her hit me? I provocatively smiled at her and said, it seems that Mom doesn't love Xiaobao Ning that much after all. She didn't even go abroad to take care of Xiaobao Ning. Mom's love has regressed. She needs to step it up. Otherwise, if Xiaobao Ning's parents get divorced, it would be so pitiful. Isabella, how long are you going to make a scene? Sigh, for us little cabbages who are unloved by our fathers and mothers. We can't even state a fact, unlike Bao Bei Ning, whose parents are divorced but still have cheap second-hand parents rushing to care for her. Why can't we just endure a little? Once Xiaobao Ning is born, you definitely won't want to have a child. Just get rid of me. That would be better for both me and you. I turned around and sat on the chair, propping my head up as I looked at them. Isabella, haven't you caused enough trouble by now? What about your upbringing? My dad slammed the table in anger, while my mom tried to calm him down beside him. What's wrong? Now that Xiaobao Ning is gone, you find me even more displeasing. Then I'll just leave. I stood up and opened the door, preparing to go out. My mom chased after me, yanking my arm. She shouted hoarsely, Isabella, I gave birth to you, and this is how you treat me. I struggled to get away. Her grip was getting stronger, and my arm was starting to hurt. My head, possibly due to the injury, was becoming increasingly dizzy. In a moment of daze, I lost my balance and was directly pushed down by her. I rolled down the stairs all the way. The images of my past life and this life flashed through my mind in an instant. I instinctively reached out to touch my neck. Oh, I have been reborn. This is not the wedding scene. The old-fashioned staircase doesn't have any glass. Then there was a violent impact, but this time it was my knee hitting the steps. A sharp pain surged from my bones and skin, followed by a painful numbness. The white pants were covered in blood, and I curled up like a shrimp. The intense physical pain causing me to involuntarily cry out. My dad rushed down in a panic. How are you? Are you okay? I looked at them coldly and suddenly laughed, saying, I'm not dead yet. Mom and Dad still need to keep trying. Our commotion attracted the neighbors in the hallway. I was taken to the hospital by a kind neighbor. The scene was filled with noise, with enthusiastic people criticizing my parents and my dad trying to explain. And then there was the loud sound of my mom slamming the door in anger. I felt completely numb, as if I had emptied myself. The blood from my leg kept flowing more and more, and my head was spinning severely. It wasn't until I got to the hospital, and the doctor treated my wounds, that the pain from being touched there brought me back to my senses. It's not entirely a bad thing. At least missing this exam means I can skip the rest as well. I don't need to find excuses for why I did so poorly on this college entrance exam. There are even better things. I wasn't the only one who missed the exam. Tristan didn't even show up for the Chinese exam. He bought a large bouquet of sunflowers mixed with baby's breath to bid farewell to Ji Sungning. Then he pretentiously posted a status update. You ask me if it's worth it, but to me, you have long been everything. The accompanying image is a photo of flowers and the back view of Ji Sungning at the airport, along with the flower language of baby's breath found online. A love that silently protects. Woo woo. I'm so touched that I even ate an extra chicken leg at the hospital during lunch. I'm just afraid that you two don't love each other enough. I did not participate in the later subjects of the college entrance examination due to being hospitalized from an injury. The journalist who had previously interviewed me learned about this matter and conducted a second interview with me. I cried in front of the camera and said, I don't know why it turned out this way. I really prepared for a long time. This interview was lengthy, and there were also testimonies from the surrounding neighbors. My parents have completely blown up in the entire district. My mom called me in a panic, asking what on earth I wanted. Now, wherever she goes with my dad, people are pointing and whispering. My usually weak dad even rarely lost his temper with her. I smiled and said, shouldn't it be me asking Mom what she wants? Is it necessary for me to lose my life? When I said this, I couldn't help but recall the scenes from my past life. She really wanted my life. At that time, she was worried that Ji Sungning wouldn't have enough money abroad, and most of the family's money was supporting her. However, to outsiders, our family didn't seem that difficult. I couldn't even apply for a scholarship. At the beginning of my freshman year, they still paid my tuition, but later they made me work part-time to support myself. At that time, she cried and said to me, Isabella, children from poor families have to take responsibility early. We only have this condition. You need to understand us. Throughout my 4 years of college, I hardly had a single day of rest. I was always running back and forth between school and my part-time job. I wore my high school jacket until I graduated from college. My roommates couldn't stand it and gave me their clothes that they no longer wore. I have never had a day without feeling embarrassed. While my peers are vibrant and radiant in their youth, I feel like a filthy rat in a gutter, afraid of others seeing my awkwardness. Meanwhile, what is Ji Sungning doing? At 19, she is using the money sponsored by my parents to travel from New York to Philadelphia. When I saw that post on social media, I was furious and went to confront my mom. How can you compare yourself to her? You know Ning Ning's legs are like that, and she has been in a bad mood, cutting her arm with a knife in the middle of the night to go to the emergency room. Is death such a terrible thing? I have long wanted to live no more. If I wanted to die, I wouldn't just cut myself with a knife, knowing that the wound would heal. I must have died a long time ago, and you wouldn't even know. Isabella, I am your mother. How can you scare me like this? What am I supposed to do as your mother? She was crying bitterly on the other end of the phone. Her tears were like a swamp swallowing me, pulling me down little by little to rock with her. Children naturally love their parents. Back then, I was always tamed by her slapping me and then giving me a sweet date. Just like that day after I caused a scene, she unexpectedly sent me a red envelope with 200 yuan. But along with the red envelope came a long voice message. My knees have been hurting lately, and it seems like my lungs are also a bit uncomfortable. I don't even dare to see a doctor. She applied all her life's manipulation skills on me, while she gave all her kindness and consideration to her original family. I naturally did not accept that red envelope. Even during my student years, the scholarships and part-time earnings I received would sometimes be used to support them. When did I start to awaken? Ji Sungning is like a bottomless pit. She seems to need to feel her own value through the sacrifices of others, and it became a habit. She learned to fly leaves and drink excessively in America. The year I graduated, she was diagnosed with uremia and needed a kidney transplant. My mom didn't hesitate to let me get tested for compatibility. Her words floated lightly. You can live with one kidney. You are blood relatives. I beg you, my child. In that instant, I was completely awakened. She didn't love herself, let alone love me. I will never allow my life to be used by her like an object. That was the first time I started to refuse her. She said all sorts of cruel and insulting things to me. She cursed me, wondering why it wasn't someone like me who got sick. I was completely awakened by her repeated attacks. It wasn't me who made her give birth to me. She is not a favor to me. I owe no one anything. No one treats me well, so I will treat myself well. I want to live for myself. I must live for myself. Perhaps because of the rebirth, my dad has started to change a bit compared to my previous life. But I don't need that. He brought my mom to the hospital a few times, but each time I chased them away. As soon as he arrives, I go crazy and start shouting, "Haven't you harmed me enough? My college entrance exam is ruined because of you. Are you satisfied now?" They don't like me bringing this up, so I insist on mentioning it. Isabella, I am your mother. Are you really going to blame me? It's always this sentence, forever this sentence. In my past life, I didn't donate a kidney, and they sold the house just to give Ji Sungning a bit more funding. Then they came to me, broke, and said, "Isabella, it's okay, you go on living your good life, we just don't have that fate." I couldn't take it anymore and laughed in anger, saying, "How could I dare blame my mother? My mother is the best mother in the world." letting me experience a unique life of slavery. My mother is the kindest mother under heaven. Mom, I fear my life isn't enough for you to toy with. While you're still young, you should hurry and have a few more kids. Otherwise little Bao Ning will be too pitiful without a nanny and a slave. Isabella. She raised her hand as if to hit me. I covered my mouth and continued to laugh, saying, "What's wrong, Mom? Did I hit the nail on the head? Oh. So you deliberately sabotaged my college entrance exams because you were afraid I'd spend money on my education, or that I wouldn't be easy to control in the future, and wouldn't be your slave anymore, right? My goodness, Mom really has good intentions. I am truly moved every moment by your love for Xiao Bao Ning. Oh heavens, why don't you let Mom and Xiao Bao Ning be biological mother and daughter?" The slap did not land, as my dad firmly stopped it. Amazing, how surprising. My dad is now intervening. This world has changed. I was laughing so hard that my stomach hurt. After finally catching my breath, I continued, "Go ahead and hit me, Mom. I know I mentioned Xiao Bao Ning again, and I've touched your sore spot. Isabella, what have I done to you? Did I give birth to you and still owe you something? How could Mom owe me anything? It's I who owe Mom. It's my fault. I shouldn't have strangled myself in Mom's belly. I was so thoughtless to dare to be born from Mom's womb and let Mom Xiao Bao Ning suffer. But Mom, I've even sacrificed my college entrance exam for the noble Xiao Bao Ning, and I've been her slave and nanny for so many years. Isn't that enough? Xiao Bao Ning is so noble. How can a slave like me serve her? Let me give you an idea, Mom. Having children is a business, so we should do it big and strong. Have more kids, that way there will be more income to pay off debts. And Xiao Bao Ning will be even happier. Isabella, enough is enough. The outcome today is not what your mother and I wanted. What do you hope to gain by constantly attacking your mother like this? Dad, you're too late with your words. You should have scolded me earlier. As a son-in-law, you need to have the awareness of a son-in-law. Your own child is a slave of the Laroji family. The money you earn and your life belong to the Laroji family. Wake up quickly and help the Laroji family produce a few more slaves and maids. Remember to control it. Don't have sons. Sons are harder to control than daughters. In short, you really need to have a sense of crisis. What will you do if they kick you out of the house in the future? I'm really worried. Forget it. We won't talk to you anymore. You've gone crazy to the point of losing your composure. Heh, just like that, you're leaving. Sigh, it seems that my parents aren't so scary after all. So what was I so afraid of in my past life? I still haven't taken that first step. It takes 100 days to heal from a serious injury. After spending a week in the hospital, I limped out. I went back to our family's countryside home, where there was 12,000 hidden in the earth and bricks. It was left to me by my grandmother when she was dying. She was very foresighted and worried that my life would be difficult after she was gone. The old lady really loved me. She would take a long journey to visit me and even gave Ji Sungning pocket money to win her over. Fearing that she would bully me, I pried open the earthen bricks under the bed and took out the money wrapped in layer after layer of cloth. Tears kept welling up in her eyes. Sigh, why can't I be reborn earlier? She hasn't even enjoyed my blessings yet. In my previous life, I survived on this money as well. I used it to buy goods and sell them at a stall during college. But it was only enough to make ends meet. I wanted to open an online store, but I was afraid of losing all my capital and not being able to survive. This time, it won't be so troublesome, after all. Being reborn comes with some information advantage. I have some research on stocks. I mostly remember those stocks that surged dramatically over the years. I took my ID card and went to the bank to open a bank account. And then I bought a decent second-hand phone online. Before I started my repeat year, this amount of money had turned into over 270,000. Suddenly, I felt more confident. It's great. Money gives people courage. At this time, my mom has not given me a single penny for 2 whole months to make me submit. I was quite happy and went back to live in my grandmother's old house. When my dad returned from his business trip, he asked me how I had been living during this time. What's wrong? Are you curious why I'm still alive? Dear Dad, Isabella, could you not be so sharp? Dad doesn't know. Oh no, Dad will never know. If I really starve to death, the grass on my grave will be 3 meters high, and Dad might even cry at the wrong grave. Forget it, I don't want to argue with you about this. What are you planning to do next? Repeating a year also costs money, so stop fighting with your mom. As he said this, he was about to take out money for me, and I quickly jumped back. Hey, don't, I haven't taken it on. You guys are worse than loan sharks. If I have to pay with my life later, I can't accept it. Besides, this is Xiao Baoning's money. I don't even dare to look at it. Isabella, how long are you going to make a scene? Without money, how have you been living during this time? Now you only think to ask me how I live. Don't you know, the whole city knows I'm worse off than an orphan. At least orphans get a national subsidy of 1,200 a month, right? Everyone pities me. I go out with a bowl, and someone will have mercy and give me food. The more I spoke, the worse his expression became, and by the end, there was even a hint of guilt in his eyes. Unfortunately, I don't need it. Haha, I changed my tone and continued in a sarcastic manner. Oh, don't say that. Dad, you've turned misfortune into fortune. Hurry up, have a few more kids with Mom for the Laroji family. The whole society knows you're giving birth to slaves for them now. In the future, these slaves can go out and sell their sob stories for sympathy, and you won't even have to give them leftover food. It's a foolproof business. Little Bao Ning is going to be so happy. My dad couldn't take it anymore and left in a hurry, leaving behind 2,000 yuan. Hehe, who cares? The next day, I went to the post office and sent it to his workplace. There was a heartwarming sticky note on it. The best dad in the world. I don't know how my dad suddenly changed, making me worry if my good dad has been possessed and actually wants to be a father. But Dad, you need to understand your identity. Do you have the right to use your money? Do you really need to care about your children? You're not just any man. You're a proud son-in-law. You gave birth to slaves, not children you want to care for. If today you dare to reward a whole 2,000 yuan to a slave, tomorrow will you dare not serve the Laroji family? At that time, your precious little Bao Ning will resent you. Are you going to blame me then? I said it was true that someone brought me food. When I returned to the village, everyone probably knew about my situation, and there were many who invited me to their homes for meals. I was quite moved. It felt like a decaying corpse suddenly basking in the sunlight, warm and comforting. It was as if I had returned to a time before I went insane. However, I didn't need to eat someone else's food. Before my grandmother passed away, she stored 3,000 pounds of grain for me in the barn. She was really afraid that I would go hungry, and before she lost consciousness, she tightly held my dad's hand, telling him not to sell the grain. My dad agreed, and after she looked at me, she closed her eyes. Not long after, my mom said that the grain would spoil if left for too long and wouldn't be worth much, so they sold over 1,000 pounds. It wasn't until my dad kept having nightmares, dreaming of grandma questioning him, that he dared not sell it. They never returned to the old house again. Only I come back every year during winter and summer breaks to clean. I don't want to see this old house fall into disrepair. I always feel that if I clean it thoroughly, it will be as if grandma is still here. The millet in the barn has been there for more than 3 years, and grandma has also been gone for more than 3 years. I carried a basket to the village threshing ground to turn it into rice, and then I steamed the rice at home. The chives planted by grandma in the back mountain are still growing lushly, and with the eggs given by the village aunt, I made a chive and egg stir-fry. I also placed a portion of food in front of grandma's portrait, as if she were still here eating with me. Grandma, why can't I come back earlier? In the yard, grandma also planted 7 peach trees, which used to bear little fruit. But this year they are unusually fruitful, a tree that produced 200 to 300 pounds of peaches. My daily routine consists of going to the market to sell peaches in the morning and having meals and reading in the old house in the afternoon. In the evening, I check the stock market. After my dad learned about the peaches, he came to find me once and praised me, saying, Dad knows you've become sensible and that you're earning your own money, so you don't need my money. Your mom is also very concerned about you. Are you feeling self-satisfied again, my good dad? Do you know why there are suddenly so many peaches this year? Grandma said you've been too good to me, which is why the peach tree bore more fruit to reward you. I smiled at him and said, the afternoon sky was frighteningly yellow. With the shadows of the trees swaying, and unknown birds calling in the distance, he looked at the old house in panic, leaving behind a remark, "Dad has something to do." Before leaving, "Are you afraid of ghosts?" "I'm not afraid, I really want to meet someone, otherwise, it's too lonely to be alone in this world. The new school term is starting soon, and my situation is quite special. Although I didn't take the college entrance exam, my previous assessments and past final exam scores were decent. The school teachers proactively reached out to me, saying that on one hand, they could waive my tuition fees, and on the other hand, they could sponsor my living expenses. I refused and let the teacher give it to those in need. They asked me how I was doing in life, and I made up a story about winning 100,000 from a scratch-off ticket. Because of the stock market talk, it would definitely require a lot more explanation. The teacher was very touched by my actions and advised me to keep my winning a secret, as she probably knew about what happened during the college entrance examination. The tuition fees were waived, and the living expenses were sponsored to another student from a difficult family background. As soon as the new semester started, I saw Tristan in my new class. When enemies meet, they are particularly hostile. He walked straight towards me, knocked on my desk, and said, "Come out. I have something to say to you." "Why should I? Just because you tell me to go out, I will." "Fine, if you want to say that here without caring about your reputation, go ahead. You're a girl too, don't you feel guilty for ruining another girl's reputation?" "Why should I feel guilty, just because I spoke the truth? Those who take advantage of others have no guilt. Those who disturb students studying for exams in the middle of the night have no guilt. Those who shamelessly take all the benefits have no guilt. Why should we normal people feel guilty? What bad luck to be in the same class as someone like you." The speaker was my deskmate, Chen Shi, a cute little girl who might not be good at arguing. Her face flushed after saying this. Tristan used to be seen as a handsome and polite top student. No one had ever mocked him like this. He was momentarily at a loss for words and kicked over the nearby desk. He turned around and strode away. As he reached the door, the owner of the desk returned from the restroom and shouted, "Damn, who has such poor manners to knock over someone else's desk and not even help pick it up?" Tristan paused for a moment, unsure whether to help or not, and decided it was best to leave quickly. Chen Shi and I went to help pick up books, and Chen Shi couldn't help but say, "Whoever runs the fastest is the winner." During that year of repeating classes, my life was actually quite ordinary. I didn't stand out much. Perhaps it was my cautious nature. I was afraid of showing off my wealth too much, as I might attract the wrong kind of people, and being alone, I had little ability to protect myself, so my classmates even thought I was quite poor at one point. After class, everyone would still feed me snacks. Generally, those willing to repeat are children from ordinary families. In comparison, the college entrance examination is considered a very important, even the only, way out. By the end of the first semester, my stock earnings alone had already reached over $1 million. At this time, there is also a key time point. The World Cup football match has begun. In my previous life, I heard many boys in the class discussing privately, and my father would also buy some lottery tickets. I only remember 2 or 3 special scores, but I remember the specific wins and losses very clearly. This year's champions and runners-up are Germany and Argentina, while the 3rd and 4th places are the Netherlands and Brazil. The reason I remember it so clearly is that the days that followed were too busy, and I didn't pay attention to other tournaments anymore. I was deeply impressed and went on a shopping spree. Soon, that more than $1 million turned into over $10 million. And because I was afraid of being noticed, I sometimes took a taxi to other districts to shop. I didn't let anyone know about this money. To be honest, when this money hit my account, I felt my hands trembling. I had never seen so much money in this life or the last. With money, many things become much more convenient. I specifically hired renowned teachers for tutoring in high school, and for some classes, I attended with my classmates. I told everyone that it was a kind-hearted person who sponsored me. Of course, Tristan would never attend classes with us for the sake of his pride. Moreover, he always looks very busy every day. I only found out from my classmates that he is working part-time every day now. I want to save money to visit Ji Sangning during the winter vacation. No matter how smart a person is, if they do not cherish their talent, heaven will take it back. He has fallen from being in the top 10 of his grade to outside the top 100. Soon the winter vacation will arrive, and aside from the time spent on extra classes, we only have about 10 days to rest. Of course, Tristan did not go to see Ji Sungning. His family was already very displeased with Tristan for giving up on the college entrance exam last time. Naturally, it was impossible for him to give her extra money to pursue love. Most of the money he earned from his part-time job was either sent to her out of concern for Ji Sungning's well-being or spent on gifts for her as surprises. I had long been in a situation where my expenses exceeded my income, so I naturally hadn't saved enough for a plane ticket during the winter break. Our former classmates came back, everyone got together for a reunion. While singing at KTV, a classmate with whom I had no previous connection suddenly handed me a card. I was stunned on the spot. The one Sakai gave me was Cheng Yangchuan, the top student in the grade. As far as I remember, I had hardly spoken to him a few times. Moreover, he seems to be good friends with Tristan. They are together. I politely smiled and said, "Thank you for your kindness, but I'm not that embarrassed. I don't want to be involved in this kind of entanglement." In my past life, I was actually quite concerned about Tristan and Ji Sungning being together at the beginning. At first, I never thought I would be with him, but I did have a crush on him. When I was in high school, my living expenses were very limited. My mom calculated exactly how much I should spend, and the money I had at school was only enough for vegetarian dishes. There were even times when I didn't bring sanitary pads from home during my period, and after swiping my meal card, I couldn't even afford the vegetarian dishes. At that time, I was really hungry and craving food. I would even secretly wash dishes at a restaurant to eat a meal with meat and oil. Earning 10 yuan an hour, I don't dare to touch the money left by my grandmother. It's easy to go from frugality to extravagance, but hard to go from extravagance to frugality. I'm afraid that if I spend even a little, I might unknowingly use it all up. I must go to college. What if they don't pay my tuition? So I kept enduring until one day, I suddenly noticed that my meal card seemed to have a few hundred extra yuan every month. At first, I thought it was the school providing that kind of financial aid to maintain our self-esteem, and I thought I should study even harder. That money really made my life much easier, until one day, I returned to the classroom early and saw Tristan stealing my meal card from my desk. I was furious at that moment. I thought to myself, I'm already so poor, does he have no conscience? I originally wanted to secretly follow him to catch him in the act. As a result, I saw him load 500 yuan onto that meal card. It's hard to describe how I felt at that moment. I was completely stunned there. In my past life, apart from my grandmother, I never thought anyone would treat me this way. Those feelings grew unconsciously. When I later found out about him and Ji Sungning, I was actually a bit sad inside. But because of this matter, my tolerance for him increased each time. I acted as the messenger between their feelings. He asked me to help take care of Ji Sungning, and I did. When Ji Sungning was sick, I made her porridge, helped her with laundry, and explained her homework to her. Even my mother praised me for doing well, and that was my lowest point. There was a time when I even wished he hadn't given that money, so I wouldn't have to bear such moral pressure. I always felt that I should repay him. Later, after he separated from Ji Sungning, he became utterly despondent. He was drunk every day to the point of oblivion, and it was I who, after my part-time job, took him home late at night, trying every way to encourage and help him. After being reborn, I wanted to end this cycle of cause and effect, so I gave him 10,000 yuan. He was initially a bit stunned, and I directly mentioned the meal card. He remained silent and did not speak, but he also did not accept that money. Later, after he got together with Ji Sungning, his financial situation became increasingly dire, and I seized the opportunity to hand over that sum of money. He clenched his fists and finally said, "Consider this a loan. I'll pay you back later." There won't be a later. This person will no longer have any connection to me. Chen Shi knows about the meal card, but she has always felt that the money might not belong to Tristan. I think, if it weren't for that, he wouldn't have kept quiet. When Cheng Yangchuan handed over the card, Chen Shi was right beside him. She deliberately said loudly, "Hey, RE doesn't need it." Hey, last time that Tristan secretly transferred money into her card, she paid him back many times over when she found out. What? That money isn't his. It was Yangchuan who asked him to help put money into the meal card. A boy next to Cheng Yangchuan immediately spoke up. Just as he finished using the bathroom, Tristan returned. He heard that sentence and stammered, "I didn't say that money was given by me. The money you gave. I said it was a loan." "Then why didn't you say it wasn't yours?" Chen Shi retorted. Tristan stood there with a flushed face, at a loss for words, looking at the strange gazes from everyone in the box. He lifted his foot to leave, but then turned back to me and said, "Isabella, I'll give it to you tomorrow." I didn't look at him. Lowering my head to peel an orange, sharing it half with Chen Shi, Tristan could no longer stay, and fled in a panic. Suddenly, a long hand reached over with a tissue. I raised my eyes to the owner of the hand, and under the light, his eyes sparkled like the stars in the sky. I held the orange and didn't know what to say for a moment. He reached out and took half of the orange, saying, "Thank you." Chen Shi raised his eyebrows and looked at me, saying, "Hang it, a guy who values romance over friendship. No, that's not it." The more I explain, the more confused it gets, like saying there are 300 taels of silver hidden here. Cheng Yanchuan's brows and eyes suddenly brightened, unable to hold back his laughter. This is the first time I've seen him smile so happily. After the class reunion, he took me back to the hotel. Yes. I no longer live at home. Before the holiday, I used to stay at my grandmother's old house in the countryside. This time I came specifically to attend the class reunion. We chatted casually along the way. He said he was sorry for not being able to help me during the college entrance exam and didn't know how to help. The only thing he felt he could do was to give me money. In fact, he had been giving Tristan over 1,000 every month to pass on to me. It's just because Tristan told him that I was no longer needed, without giving a reason, that he came to ask me in person. "Why, Cheng Yangchuan, I remember your financial situation isn't that good either. Isabella, you're so smart, don't you know why?" The cool night breeze lifted my skirt, and I lowered my head, not daring to look into his eyes again. Suddenly, a denim jacket was draped over my shoulders. "Isabella, you can do it. I'm waiting for you at Tsinghua." No way. Is this guy playing with dark humor? In my past life, I worked my hardest, and even getting into a top-tier university like 985 felt like a huge achievement to me. Now starting over, I would be satisfied just to get into a first-tier university, Tsinghua. Why not say that Tsinghua and Peking University should compete for me? I furrowed my brows in confusion. He reached out towards my face, but just as he was about to get close, he pulled back. Under the streetlight, I saw his ears turn bright red. I remember that Cheng Yanchuan's finances weren't that good. I had seen him tutoring others to make money before. It made me quite embarrassed because I had asked him about the questions several times. These are the fruits of others' labor, but it didn't feel right to just give money. So when the peaches in the old house ripened, I picked a big bag for him. We are front and back desks, so it's inevitable that we will ask each other questions. So every year I give him a big bag of peaches. He looks cold, and I don't dare to disturb him too much. I just didn't expect it. Sigh, forget it, I won't think about it. I still need to hurry and relearn to prepare for the college entrance exam. After staying at the hotel for a night, when I went downstairs, Cheng Yangchuan had actually ordered breakfast for me. He had already returned to his school, as he reportedly had a lot of work to do. No wonder he is a genius. He is so busy even in his freshman year. Breakfast consisted of all my favorites: spicy wontons in red oil, black soybean milk, and soup dumplings. I feel that I should be as calm as water. Love is precious, but life is even more valuable, especially now. I can be considered a wealthy woman. Sigh, I don't want to think about it. After breakfast, I will return to the old house. In the afternoon, I received a package, which I rode my bike to the town to pick up. It was a sack full of books and notes, all neatly organized by category. As I watched, I couldn't help but marvel at how Cheng Yanchuan's notes looked as if they were printed. They could be sold as top-notch notes for the imperial examination. While I was reviewing, I received a phone call. It was from Tristan. He asked to meet me, saying he wanted to give me the money. I didn't want to affect my mood. so I sent him a card number. There was no need for us to meet, it was unavoidable during school. Maybe heaven understood my intentions. Sure enough, Tristan didn't come when school started. It turned out that the money was for him to buy a plane ticket to see Ji Sungning. Ji Sungning didn't wait for him, suspected him of cheating, and then committed suicide by cutting her wrist. It is said that her hand was soaked in the bathtub, and after being sent to the hospital, she went straight into the ICU. Tristan fasted for 3 days at home, and his parents had no choice but to finally take him to see Ji Sungning. Interesting. More exciting than the melodramatic dramas I watch at 8 o'clock, the incident of Ji Sungning's suicide did have an impact on me. Not at all, because my mom contacted me again. She called me at night and said, Ningning committed suicide. Didn't you know? I know. Then what did you do? I bought firecrackers and fireworks. Isabella, are you still human? I don't know, it depends on whether you are human or not. After all, you gave birth to me. On the other end of the phone, there was deep breathing. I quickly comforted her, saying, Mom, don't be angry. I bought fireworks and firecrackers for your sake. For me, listen. While I was on the phone, I set off a cluster by the riverbank next to the community. A loud bang was heard on the other end of the phone, then continued, Xiao Baoning has already been admitted to the ICU. What are you doing now? Shouldn't you hurry to take care of her? Do you even deserve her? Even if you can't rush over, you should at least hurry to have a second child. I can barely control myself anymore, and you still haven't made the next one. You're not even focused on work, and you dare to take a break at this hour. Is Xiao Baoning's money enough? Mom, I'm so disappointed in you. If it weren't for this fireworks display to cheer you up, do you think I would buy it? The call was directly hung up. I was speechless. I still had so many heartfelt words left unsaid. Tristan finally came to school after more than a month since the semester started. However, the news about him and Ji Sungning spread too widely. A boy talked to him at noon, and his mother saw it. She immediately scolded him, saying, I'm telling you, stay away from him. If you turn out like him, I'll take you with me to die. The boy, afraid that his mother would say something more extreme, quickly pulled her to the cafeteria. Perhaps Ji Sungning is really in need of money over there. Tristan has been skipping classes more and more, just to save money to send to her. His parents have reluctantly given him money a few times, but after all, they are an ordinary family and cannot bear such a burden any longer. He can only do as he pleases. Soon it was time for the college entrance examination again. I'm not really afraid or anxious. In any case, the result of this exam won't have a significant impact on my life. Unexpectedly, my mom actually bought me a dress and even brought me food. Of course, I wouldn't dare to eat it. She only said that I am very sensible and capable, which makes her feel at ease. She doesn't not care about me. She truly has no way to do so. I expressed my understanding and comforted her, saying, it's okay. You'll get used to it. First, use me as an experiment. Once Mom has more slaves later, she'll be more numb to it. Mom is a superpower mom. The children she gives birth to can grow naturally without being raised. When they grow up, they'll still be good slaves. Little Bao Ning's blessings are yet to come. She was so provoked by me that she wanted to curse but couldn't find the words, watching the flow of candidates coming and going. In the end, it was just one sentence. Yi, when you grow up, you'll understand, Mom. After you finish your exam, I have something to tell you. Oh, I'm curious again and again and again. What outrageous and bizarre thing could make my mom endure such humiliation today? The short 3-day exam will soon be over. I might have developed PTSD during this time. I even hired a female bodyguard. I really don't want to have any more accidents and go back to high school. As soon as I left the exam room, a tall and handsome girl handed me a bag. Inside it was a long dress from brand D, along with a gold bracelet. The day the college entrance exam ends is also Chen Shi's mother's birthday, because Chen Shi's mother cooks very well. During the last semester, she always made 2 meals to bring to me and Chen Shi. I offered her money, but she refused. I had no choice but to take Chen Shi and buy 2 stocks. Of course, to prevent her from becoming obsessed, I made up various excuses, like saying I dreamed about it, and that I had dreamed about it for 2 consecutive years, and so on. After all, I couldn't just say I was reborn. Today is her mother's birthday, so I naturally have to show my appreciation. When my mom saw the bag I was carrying, she reached out to take it and said, You finally understand. I don't blame you for the past. This isn't for mom. I'm not like Xiaobao Ning. How could I buy something that would satisfy her? This is a birthday gift for my classmate's mom. You buy something for your classmate's mom but not for me. Did you even acknowledge my birthday last year? Last year, at that time, I hadn't been reborn yet. Where would I get the money? Besides, I used to buy her things too. When I was in elementary school, I saved up money to buy her a bouquet of flowers. She slapped me so hard that it made my nose bleed, and she said I stole money to buy it. In the end, it was my pocket money that I saved up, and I didn't receive a single apology. When I was in the 3rd year of junior high, I worked part-time to buy her a birthday cake, and she just threw it on the ground, scolding me for buying something useless. She scolded me for only knowing how to waste money, because at that time, Ji Sungning couldn't get into high school, and paying the school selection fee was a done deal. Even if she didn't live in our house at that time, she was always paying attention to her. I remember after she stormed out, I took a spoon and scooped up the noodles to eat. That was the first time in my life I ate a birthday cake. Grandma didn't understand these things, and I didn't want to ask her for it. She would always buy me those small cakes that were sold by the pound. I felt a bit regretful at that time. I should have bought a birthday cake for Grandma. It seems like she has never had a birthday cake. But Grandma didn't get to wait for my birthday cake. She passed away before my birthday. I looked at my fierce mother, and my emotions calmed down again. I said, Mom, you have little Bao Ning. Why buy for a classmate's mom? You might not know, but I am the kind of child who is unloved by both father and mother, and I lack love the most. I want to call anyone I see on the street mom or dad. The atmosphere between us suddenly became tense again. Her hand was raised again. I quickly hid behind the bodyguard and said, Hey, look. Mom is going to take her anger out on me because of Xiao Baoning again. That's why I miss my mom so much. My classmate's mom is so nice. She doesn't hit me, doesn't scold me, and even cooks for me every day. I never thought I would meet such a good mom in my life. Who is she? The bodyguard I hired. Where did you get the money? It's from the parents I recently recognized. It's all nonsense. Isabella, do you have to guard against me to this extent? I am your biological mother. If I can prove that I am not your biological mother, I will send you to prison for intentional injury. She wanted to hit me but couldn't reach me, wanted to scold me but couldn't stand my sarcasm. She took several deep breaths and finally pleaded, In the past, I was a bad mother. But I will change in the future. I will cover your college tuition and living expenses, but I beg you for one thing. Okay, what is it? Ning has uremia and needs a kidney. Please have pity on Mom and accompany me to get tested. Okay, this is the only thing Mom has ever asked for in her life. Damn. Ji Sungning is playing so fast. Oh my goodness, how could this happen? What if Xiao Baoning gets into trouble? Mom, what will you do if you can't take care of people anymore? Isabella. Are you still throwing a tantrum at this time? Are you going to argue with her? I just want to ask you one thing. Will you help me or not? Of course, I knew it. I won't help. Then just pretend I'm not your mother from now on. Sure, I've wasted my life on you. Yeah, just consider me unlucky. My life is hard. Yes. You beast. You beast. May you never have peace. Heaven will surely punish you. I expressionlessly took out my phone to record a video. Then cheerfully said, Mom really knows how to scold. It seems Mom wants to be famous again like last year. But this time I'm going to post a photo of Xiao Baoning. I'll even share it in the Chinese community in America. Oh dear, I wonder if Xiao Baoning, suffering from uremia, will commit suicide again. And if this time she will really die. She reached out to grab my phone, but I was stopped by my bodyguard. I stared at her fearlessly and said, If my mother doesn't bring misfortune to me, then it's the greatest blessing for your little Baoning. If I were my mother, I would either work harder to earn more money for little Baoning to enjoy more blessings, or I would pray to the Bodhisattva for a second child, allowing little Baoning to truly be your child, so that we could continue our past connection. Why come to me, a traitorous slave, for trouble? This completely infuriated her, and she raised the milk tea she bought for me. ready to smash it at me. I smiled and looked at her while holding my phone. In the end, her hand paused in midair, and then she turned around and left without any reluctance. As soon as the college entrance exam results came out, Cheng Yanchuan's call came through. How did you do, Isabella? I'm sorry. I didn't get into Tsinghua, I got into Beidar, Peking University. Peking University is not bad, it's not far from me. The person on the other end of the phone was unexpectedly excited. And I doubted I had heard correctly. After all, Cheng Yanchuan rarely showed much emotional fluctuation when he spoke. Back when we were studying, I even suspected he might be an AI. To avoid making us both feel awkward, I quickly interrupted him, saying, I'm actually applying to a university in Beijing. It's not abbreviated as Peking University. It's okay, it's okay. It's great that you can come to Beijing. We're in the same city, so there will be plenty of opportunities to meet. How can a study god be so good at making assumptions? I'm going to the capital, of course, to make money. If I don't invest in a company or buy a house now, when else will I? However, it's not good to say it directly. Let's just consider it a beautiful misunderstanding. Although I didn't get into Peking University, Chen Shi did. Hey, that's also a great thing. Now I have connections with both Tsinghua and Peking University. I will charge into the future as a wealthy entrepreneur and scientist. This year, my total income has already reached 20 million. However, Chen Shi didn't seem very happy. She was confused. Clearly, my grades were so good before repeating the year, so why were the subsequent exams not ideal? I even doubted whether I had hit my head when I fell down the stairs. I was looking at my report card with joy. After all, I managed to get into a 211 university. Not bad, not bad. I am truly excellent. She reached out and pressed down on my shoulder. Looking serious as she said, Yi, you shouldn't have this score. There are those who did better after repeating the year. Do you want to try harder? That way, we can go to Peking University together. Me, I didn't eat any sour plums. Am I looking for punishment? I expressed my deep gratitude, then rejected her, laughing to death. Next time it might be even worse. I won't even make it to the first book. I have nothing right now, just a strong sense of self-awareness, with these grades. It's probably my grandmother who helped from below. Whenever I think of my grandmother, I feel a bit sour in my heart. I hurriedly asked someone to build her a luxurious tomb and burned 20 pounds of paper money for her. Before, I was afraid that others would find out about my financial situation, so I only dared to burn for her in private. As for now, with a bodyguard, I feel a bit more secure. The people in the village are very warm-hearted. They brought me a bunch of fruits and asked where I got the money. I said it was a reward from the school for my good grades, and I also introduced my bodyguard sister as a teacher. The key is to create your own identity when you are out and about. On the way back, I passed through a muddy country road. I held back for a moment. But I still plan to attend university for another year or two and come up with excuses. Wealth should not be flaunted. Wealth should not be flaunted. I didn't deliberately inquire about what happened with Tristan and Ji Sangning, but they are really too famous. I always hear gossip about them from other classmates. Tristan has just finished the college entrance examination. After much struggle, he finally managed to get into a second-tier university. However, he did not attend, nor did he want to repeat the year. Instead, he went abroad to donate a kidney to Ji Sangning. Truly a love that moves heaven and earth. I thought they would stay in America and I would never see them again in this lifetime. But in my sophomore year, they returned to the country. At that time, Tristan's leg was already crippled, and it seemed he was having a hard time in America. He had no education and no skills. After spending the money he brought with him, he could only rely on serving and washing dishes to earn a living. Ji Sangning had already become accustomed to extravagant spending. He lost a kidney and was living too hard. His body could no longer support him. Within less than a year of arriving in America, he had already started taking medication. At this time, Ji Sangning's mother had already disappeared without a trace. There was no choice. After struggling for another year, they chose to return to their home country. After returning home, Tristan originally wanted to seek some support from his parents. However, he discovered that his mother had already given birth to a second child and clearly told him that everything in the family was reserved for his younger brother, no longer has anything to do with him. The change happened too quickly. No matter how much Tristan pleaded with his parents, they only replied, "You have grown up, this is the path you chose, so you can't blame us." Ji Songning originally wanted to live with them at my parents' house, but the family home had already been sold by my parents to pay for her surgery. Therefore, Tristan had no choice but to rent a place while working part-time to support her. My parents are getting older and are unable to take care of themselves. The allowance my mother gives is limited. Gradually, Ji Songning's emotions became increasingly volatile. She self-harmed more and more often, always asking Tristan if he hated her and if he blamed her. No matter how Tristan explained, she did not believe him. Tristan was overwhelmed with various heavy physical jobs every day. He was becoming increasingly impatient with her. The breaking point of the conflict was when Tristan finally found a part-time job at a bar. But there, I saw Ji Songning kissing a man. He rushed over and punched the man, but was quickly pinned to the ground by the man's henchman, in the midst of the conflict. I don't know who brought down a chair. My left leg was broken on the spot. The man compensated a little money afterwards. Ji Songning directly moved out of their rental apartment. As she was leaving, she accused Tristan, saying, "Banquet, I have no other way out. I just feel like I'm going to drag you down with me. I can only do this. I owe you in this life. I'll repay you in the next life." She left without any lingering attachment. Only a messy and moldy room was left for him. He looked at himself in the bathroom mirror and felt so unfamiliar. He was wondering how he had become this way. That night he drank a lot of alcohol, and fueled by the drink, he arranged to meet Ji Songning. He said he still couldn't let her go and wanted to give her an unforgettable gift for this lifetime. Perhaps Ji Songning was too confident. She actually believed that Tristan wouldn't blame her. She eagerly went to the appointment. As a result, she was splashed in the face with a bottle of sulfuric acid. Her entire face was almost destroyed. After splashing, Tristan rode off on his motorcycle. It's really ironic that the money for the motorcycle came from the compensation given by that man at the bar. He had no fixed plans and slept under a remote overpass for a night. That night, I had a beautiful dream. He dreamed that he did not go to see Ji Songning off and completely cut off contact with her. He also dreamed that she was with that woman, Isabella. In the dream, she was not as sharp-tongued and pointed as she is now. She was so gentle, she comforted him, and she did her best to help him. He realized that she might have misunderstood about the meal card. However, for some reason, he just couldn't bring himself to say it, because the version of her in his dreams was truly wonderful. Until the wedding, Cheng Yangchuan came to find him. He gave them a wedding gift, which was an expensive pair of couples' watches. He was clearly very angry, yet he couldn't find the words to express it. He thought, he definitely wasn't the one receiving it. He must still be thinking about Isabella. What about Isabella? Does she really like him? Or is she just touched that he secretly helped her top up her meal card when she was down and out? Thinking this, he became increasingly uneasy. He always got angry with her over trivial matters, such as inviting people to the wedding and arranging seating. He repeatedly asked her why she liked him. When she was about to speak, he immediately interrupted her in a fit of rage. Until Ji Songning's arrival, he completely exploded. His hypocrisy was infuriating, deliberately placing all the blame on her. This way, he could convince himself that not only was he deceiving her, but she was also deceiving herself. They were all equally despicable people. He really never intended to kill her. It was an accident. After waking from the dream, he understood everything. The dream must have been real. Isabella was reborn. But why? Why would she harm herself like that? Why is she so particular about that? He wants to go find her and ask for clarification. After Ji Songning was disfigured, Tristan disappeared. Cheng Yangchuan was very nervous for a while, coming to the apartment every day to take me to class and bringing me home at night. I don't know how to handle my relationship with him. I actually kind of hate how humble I was in my past life with Tristan. I keep asking myself, will I really like someone again? Or is it just out of gratitude? I also don't want to waste Cheng Yangchuan's time and energy, so I chose to be straightforward and gave him a card. I expressed my gratitude to him. That day, Beijing was draped in a lingering autumn rain, and the streets were very desolate. He seemed to have lost a lot of weight during this time. After I finished my polite social expressions of gratitude, he just looked at me in silence. Time seemed to stand still at that moment, until he pushed the card back to me, saying, "Isabella, you are overthinking it, I don't need your repayment." Then he stood up and left. I sat in the chair, watching his figure gradually fade away, remaining motionless for a long time. My heart felt a bit sour, but I couldn't tell why. I am very satisfied with my current life, and I don't want any changes. Time is the most deceptive. Slowly, we are almost forgetting about Tristan. Until that Christmas day, it snowed heavily in Beijing. I am looking for my car in the basement. A hand suddenly pulled me into the darkness, followed by a cloth soaked in sedative being pressed over my mouth and nose. I quickly held my breath. I hadn't completely lost consciousness, but my body felt weak and my head was spinning. I closed my eyes, not daring to provoke him any further. Then, while he wasn't paying attention, I pressed the easiest button to press, the volume button, hoping to turn it down to the lowest setting. Because my hands were tied, I couldn't see either. During this process, I tried many times but couldn't make the call. Just when Tristan was driving without paying attention, the screen suddenly lit up. I quickly connected it. Deliberately pretending to just wake up a bit, I desperately made a sound and said, "Tristan, where are you taking me? You're awake, luckily you woke up. Otherwise it wouldn't be fun." Then he didn't speak, and neither did I. I kept biting my tongue to keep myself awake, until Tristan took me to an abandoned factory. I suddenly shouted, "This is the Yang Jiao Yun family textile factory. This factory has long been abandoned. What do you want to bring me here for?" I turned to the side to prevent him from seeing the light of my phone screen. What can I do? Our wedding hasn't even been completed, right? You said before that you would be with me for a lifetime. How can you be so heartless? Are you crazy? What are you talking about? I don't understand. You don't understand. Then did you deliberately make me give up the college entrance exam to support Ji-sangning? Tristan, are you out of your mind? Did I make you give up on the college entrance exam? You really have some nerve. Who was it that called me dozens of times asking about my whereabouts? Oh right, I don't think I ever told you the specific location and flight information. Did I? If it weren't for that post of yours back then, would I? What I choose to post is my freedom. Why don't you blame Pangu for creating the world? Allowing someone like you to appear in this life after countless lifetimes. Hey, Yi, I can't argue with you right now, but you are even more likable than in the last life. Shall we finish the process we didn't complete back then? He spoke while choking my neck, pressing the drugged cloth over my face again. When I woke up again, it was Tristan biting my neck. The sharp pain instantly brought me to my senses. I had already been dressed in a white wedding gown by him. He dragged me up the stairs. I struggled violently, and the memories from my past life resurfaced just before my death. Intense panic enveloped me. In an instant, I even thought about taking him down with me. My hands were tied, and I could only rush at him when his emotions were running high. His luck was too good. He didn't roll down but instead reached out to grab me, only to accidentally make a crisp sound from his ankle. He squatted down, holding his foot and crying out in pain a few times. I took the opportunity to run, but he dragged me back. He swung his arm and slapped me, and I only felt a ringing in my ears. Everything before my eyes is a blur. Why are you being so disobedient? Did it hurt? My heart really aches. He pretended to be compassionate as he held my face, his thumb wiping away the blood from the corner of my mouth. I bit down with all my strength, using every ounce of power I had. My mouth was full of the taste of blood. He kept struggling, but I wouldn't let go. He started elbowing my head. I still bit down hard until he lifted his foot and kicked my stomach. I was kicked into a corner, curled up. When I finally let go, a piece of flesh was spat out. Tristan grimaced in pain. After a long while, I finally recovered, but he still seemed unsatisfied. He walked over, yanked my hair, forced me to look at him, and slapped me a few more times. My head was getting dizzier, and I had less and less strength to resist. I was directly dragged to the rooftop by him. He tightly gripped my neck and said, "Yi, let's start over. from now on, let's not hurt each other and live well, okay? I didn't say anything and was still trying to struggle. He dragged me step by step to the edge of the rooftop. I suddenly understood his thoughts. He wanted to jump down with me. It's really both crazy and insane. If I were given another chance, I would definitely kill him right from the start. Just when I had completely lost hope, Cheng Yanchuan's voice suddenly rang out. Tristan, let her go, we can negotiate the other terms. He cautiously looked at me in Tristan's hands. Heh, you came too. How dare you show up, Cheng Yanchuan? The biggest regret of my life is being your brother. Why the hell did you come to flaunt that broken watch? If you hadn't come, how could I have lost control like that with her? How did things between us end up like this? Tristan and Ji Sungning are truly a perfect match. Like celestial beings, you won't find two people so similar again, always shifting the blame onto others. Cheng Yanchuan seemed to not understand what he was saying. But he chose to go along with what he said. So the person you hate the most is me, right? Then the person you should take revenge on the most is me, right? Let her go, and I'll let you take your revenge. Cheng Yanchuan, this has nothing to do with you, it doesn't concern you at all, I shouted uncontrollably. TSK TSK TSK, you two really like each other. Huh, how interesting, how interesting. He grabbed me with one hand and threw a dagger at me with the other, saying, then you stab yourself twice, and I'll think about it, otherwise, I'll push her down right now. Cheng Yanchuan picked up the dagger and only glanced at me. Without hesitation, I plunged the knife in. I felt my mind go blank, tears rolled down uncontrollably. With that stab, his beige sweater was soaked in blood. Hurry up and continue, Tristan urged excitedly. The second strike quickly followed. He was barely able to stand, half kneeling on the ground. Tristan looked at him in such a powerless state and lunged forward. Aren't you so arrogant? Aren't you so impressive? Why are you now like a half-dead, mangy dog in front of me? My life is completely ruined. Why should you have it any better? Why, let's all suffer together. Before he could finish his words, I picked up the dagger from the ground and stabbed it into his lower back. He looked at me in terror. The ropes binding me had already been broken free. At the cost of me forcibly snapping my left thumb, the sound of police sirens echoed in the distance. I could no longer care about anything else. I stumbled and ran towards Cheng Yanchuan. The intense pain in my hand seemed to numb at that moment. I gently helped him up and shouted at his nearly closing eyes. Someone, help, please, someone. I reached out to try to stop the blood flowing from his wound, but the blood flowed like a river that had burst its banks, soon dyeing my hands bright red. His eyes were about to close. I cried and begged him. Cheng Yanchuan, please, I'm begging you, don't close your eyes. Okay, hold on, please, I'm begging you. Cheng Yanchuan, I'm really scared. Cheng Yanchuan was in the emergency room for a full 6 hours before he came out. The last time I was that scared was when my grandmother passed away. Fortunately, in the end, it was a close call, and he pulled through. She came to see us a few times, scaring her to tears. My body is fine. Just some bruises from being beaten, and my left thumb hurts a bit, making it hard to use. On the 3rd day of hospitalization, he can eat some liquid food. I had someone send over some light porridge, feed him with one hand. He looked at me with a somewhat clumsy expression and couldn't help but say, Boss Jew is so wealthy, why bother doing it himself? He could just pay someone to do it. I never expected this. This person is so petty that he still remembers how I rejected him before. But looking at his pale lips, even with my perfected yin-yang divine skill, I couldn't utter any yin-yang words. I can only carefully coax him, saying, how can I feel at ease with others around? What is there to be uneasy about? Just be sure not to confuse kindness with feelings. You don't have a boyfriend yet. So be careful that your future boyfriend might mind. That's true. He turned his head away and no longer looked at me. I put down the spoon and pinched his ear, saying, so I carefully asked myself, how could it just be a favor? It's because I like you too much that I dare not make a decision easily. His ear gradually turned red and hot between my fingers. He still hasn't turned his head around. I leaned in gently and kissed his ear, then kissed his chin. He turned back to look at me in surprise, and I kissed his lips. Cheng Yanchuan, thank you. Thank you for holding on. Thank you for coming to me time and time again. Tristan was sentenced to a full 20 years for his crimes. Aside from Ji Sungning, who visited him with a veil, no one else cared about his fate. The crimes he committed will be judged by the law, and we must begin a new life. Sometimes, one cannot draw their own prison. I intentionally cut ties with everything from the past. I don't want to recall those bad things anymore, nor do I want to become sharp and crazy. I have also handed over the follow-up issues regarding my parents to the appropriate agency. Every month, someone would regularly provide them with a living allowance, and I no longer had direct contact with them. Unexpectedly, in this life and the last, I actually received an apology from my mother for the first time. She searched for me frantically. And it took her a long time to find out where I was attending university. She was eager to see me, but by the time she came, Cheng Yangchuan and I had already left Beijing. Cheng Yangchuan went abroad for further studies, and I took the opportunity to manage his business in another country. Plus it was a chance to relax in a different environment. She reached out to everyone she could find, even finding Chen Shi. According to Chen Shi, she found it a bit strange. Repeatedly confirming with her whether I was still alive, she said she just wanted to see me once. Just once would be enough. I did not agree. I only entrusted someone to bring her a message. The life that belongs to Mom, I have already returned once, and there is no need to meet again in this life. I know very little about what happened afterward, only that she drove Ji Sungning out of the house. She wrote many letters she wanted to send me, but she didn't have my address. It's too late. It no longer matters. I will never look back again. It might be that my emotions fluctuated too suddenly. One night, I had a very long dream. I dreamed of how Cheng Yangchuan went mad after my death in my past life. He kidnapped and imprisoned Tristan, the gentle and calm scholar, who picked up a butcher's knife and tortured the person who wanted to kill me until they wished for death, until the police found them. Later, Tristan was imprisoned for manslaughter. Cheng Yangchuan was sentenced to prison for intentional injury. He attempted suicide many times in prison. It was not until his mentor found him that he discovered a time machine that could traverse time. Only then did he find the will to survive. I accompanied him in my dreams for a very long time. Cheng Yangchuan spent a full 20 years without achieving success in his research. In his later years, he became infatuated with theology. He began to pray to the divine, asking for a chance for us. He is helpless, until one day during an outing for research, he met an old Taoist priest. The other party told him that by accumulating blessings, he could do some meritorious deeds in my name. This way, I will have good results. Thus, he no longer researched the time machine and instead spent his time on other studies and inventions. He donated all the money he earned from those patents in my name. Just before leaving, he seemed to see me and said, "Isabella, I have done all I can. But it seems there really is no such thing as a pill for regret in this world." After waking from the dream, I looked at the person sleeping beside me. It feels like it was really just a dream. Is he really that stubborn? What is so good about me? Cheng Yangchuan will never tell Isabella that he liked her long before she knew. At that time, my father had just passed away. The family was not well off. So he went to play at his grandmother's house in another village, passing by her family's yard. The peaches inside were big and red. He was afraid that if he stayed any longer, he would be laughed at, so he hurriedly left. Suddenly, a little girl called out to him, "Hey, you are Grandma Flower's grandson, right? My name is Isabella. Can you help me pick 2 peaches? I'll treat you to something." Upon hearing this, he was immediately delighted and climbed the tree to pick a lot for her. She went back into the house, took a few plastic bags, and brought him a big bag full. As he was leaving, he caught a glimpse of a large basin of bright red peaches in her living room. The peaches that day were the best he had ever eaten in his life. Later, when his grandmother fell seriously ill, he and his mother received the news very late. As soon as he entered the house, he saw that there were still fresh dishes on the table that had not been finished. They were all sent by her grandmother when she came to play at her grandmother's house during the winter vacation. She didn't seem to think it was a big deal. She was always smiling, like a little sun. Later he realized that her life was not as he had imagined. In high school, when his mother's job improved a lot, he took a part-time job tutoring, partly to contribute to the family. On the other hand, He hadn't seen her eat meat for an entire semester. Isabella, Mom said she bought the plane tickets, and tomorrow she will take me abroad for treatment. He ultimately had no choice but to resort to this method. He originally thought he was without desires, but when Tristan told her that they liked each other, he had never been so irritable. But can love be forced? Does he still want to coerce her into being grateful? She drew so clearly, and for every few problems she solved, she had to send a pile of peaches as thanks. He thought, those peaches from those 2 years were really sour.